triggers all planned out. Well, not really planned. I don't really have a plan, but I've read a bunch of really good books recently, and I just wanted to talk about them. So I figured I can throw in some tingly book triggers in with my book reviews of the ones I've read recently. Also, there are these two teenagers that drag race right on like the road outside of my house. So ignore that. It happens every night, but I only started noticing it when I started making ASMR. So I apologize. It's outside of my control. Okay, so starting off strong, we have this thick boy. I usually don't like books with pictures on the covers. I usually think that it kind of cheapens the book because I like to imagine the way I think the characters look. And if there is a picture on the front of the book, I feel like that takes away from the experience. But this book is different because of Saoirse. Saoirse Ronan is my favorite actress. If you've seen my Irish Last videos, you know that I love Ireland, and she is about as Irish as they come. And I don't just love her for that, I just love her personality, and I think she's awesome. Anyway, this is like one of the only pictures on the front of the book that I actually like. And I got this book because I had read that it was a movie, which I did not know. And also I know that Stephenie Meyer wrote the Twilight Saga, which I did not read. But after this book, I am considering it. I never thought I would say that, but... So, it's a very interesting plot. I'll read you the back, okay? Okay. Melanie Strider refuses to fade away. Our world has been invaded by an unseen enemy that takes over the minds of human hosts while leaving their bodies intact. But Wanderer, the invading soul, who occupies Melanie's body, finds its former tenant refusing to relinquish possession of her mind. As Melanie fills Wanderer's thoughts with visions of Jared, a human who has avoided invasion and lives in hiding, Wanderer begins to yearn for a man she's never met. Soon Wanderer and Melanie, reluctant allies, set off in search for the man they both love. Oh wait, there's another paragraph. Featuring one of the most unusual love triangles in literature, The Host is a riveting and unforgettable novel about the persistence of love and the essence of what it means to be human. I love blurbs on the backs of books are like, they can either be incredible or awful. Sometimes they give the whole story away, but I feel like if it's written well, it can be so good. Like pure poetry. So I got this book from Goodwill a long time ago. It sat on my shelf for forever, and I never picked it up. And then one day I decided to read it, and I gotta be honest, this is one of the best books that I have read in a long time, and I was surprised too. Like, I was not expecting to like it that much. But you see how thick this book is? I think it's like 650 pages. I finished it in days, you guys. I finished this book in 2 days. I am not usually a sci-fi girl, but I feel like this got me started on a sci-fi kick because it was so fascinating, and I really liked that there wasn't anything graphic. Like, there was no graphic like love scenes or anything like that. It was a very innocent love triangle, but it was also so interesting. I'm a big fan of books that make you think, that are like psychological, and so this had a big aspect of that because you have the human Melanie, who is kind of like the subconscious basically, and then you have the soul wanderer, who is who's controlling the body. I don't want to say possessing the body, who's controlling the body. And Melanie, the subconscious, loves Jared, and so the part that she has to play in Wanderer loving Jared, I love books that make you think, and I think the other books that I have to show you guys are also books that make you think. So I feel like I'm talking really fast, but books make me happy, so let's do some page turning. Let's do some book triggers. Let's try. I'm still very new at ASMR, so bear with me. That is one of my favorite feelings, when you hold a page between your fingers. That was not good. I'm sorry, this is not relaxing. Oh well. I'll master it at some point. But yeah, this book is The Host. I highly, highly recommend if you're into sci-fi. Also, if you're not into sci-fi, but you like books that make you think and are just kind of unique, just check it out. I'm not usually into books like this, but I loved it. Honestly, it's one of my favorites I've read so far this year, which is saying something. Okay, let's move on. Quick transitions. Okay, so this is the second book that I read recently. I think all of these are within the last month, maybe 3 weeks. Last 3 weeks. Okay, here's book number 2. Another one that I've just had for a long time from Goodwill that I finally got around to reading. I just liked that it was a tiny size. Look how tiny. It's so cute. And it's kind of beat up, so you get those like dark academia vibes when you read it. You feel like it's an old book, you know. Anyway. Also, it's set in Ireland, which I did not know before I picked it up. So that's cool. This book is definitely different than The Host. Very different. I would say this is contemporary fiction. Nothing fancy. If you've read, she wrote, Cecilia Ahern wrote, let's see, she wrote another book that's really well known. Why can't I think of it? It's Not Me Before You. That's Yo-Yo Moyes. What did she write? I know she wrote something else. Oh, that's going to really kill me. Oh, yeah, it's right here. P.S. I Love You. She wrote P.S. I Love You, which is another one I read. I don't think I liked that one a whole lot either. Anyway, this was interesting. casting. I liked it. Okay. This is chaotic. Let me read you the back. When Sabrina Boggs stumbles upon a mysterious collection of her father's belongings, her seemingly uneventful life suddenly alters and shifts. In a single day, she has to search for answers about the man she thought she knew, a man who can no longer remember his own story. Sabrina uncovers far bigger secrets than she could have imagined, and discovers that sometimes it's the people closest to us that we know the least. I like that. So, normally in books that switch POVs, it's in a singular timeline. But in this book, it switches POVs from the daughter, Sabrina, her dad at the present time, and her dad in the past, growing up in Dublin. I think he grew up in Dublin. But that aspect was really cool, and I liked that it was set in Ireland. It felt very, I don't know, it felt very cool to read that. And basically, the whole book is set in one day, which is also a cool aspect. And she basically, her dad has dementia, and so she's going in search of answers about this. Like, the title gives it away. He has a marble collection, but she's never heard him talk about marbles or seen him play with marbles or anything. So honestly, the part that makes you think the most is I got from it, like, how important it is to be vulnerable and to share our true selves with the people we care most about, you know? So it's really interesting. It was a good book. It wasn't gripping, like I didn't finish it as fast as the host, but it was really good. I'll read you one paragraph. Oh, this might be kind of a Debbie Downer. When a member of the family leaves or dies, it changes the dynamics of a family. People move and shift, take up places they either wanted to have or are forced into roles they never wanted. It happens without anybody noticing, but it's shifting all the time. I do like the way that she writes. In some parts, she's very, a good mix between poetic and easy to read. So I like her writing style. Yeah, I think I'm just, after the host, I realized I'm on a sci-fi kick, so I really do want to read a lot more sci-fi. So it was good. Sci-fi and mystery are my new favorite genres. Okay, I have two more, and they're both by the same author. Oh, this book. Also, that library cover. It's very satisfying. This one is called The Woman in the Library. Library. Let me trace my letters correctly. The things you never thought you'd have to do after kindergarten. This book, like I said, I enjoy books that make me think. Oh my gosh, this book makes you think so much. She letter she wrote him. She's just incredible, the way the scenario she comes up with. I'll talk about that one in a second, but so there basically it's a book within a book, if that makes sense. It doesn't. Let me read you the blurb. Okay. The ornate reading room at the Boston Public Library is quiet until the tranquility is shattered by a woman's terrified scream. Security guards take charge immediately, instructing everyone inside to stay put until the threat is identified and contained. While they wait for the all-clear, 4 strangers who'd happened to sit at the same table pass the time in conversation and friendships are struck. Each has his or her own reasons for being in the reading room that morning. It just happens that one is a murderer. Okay, the part that it doesn't talk about in the blurb is that one of the people in the reading room, the main character, is an author, and she's in the reading room that day working on her book, like writing, and throughout the book she's writing her book, and she kind of gets influence for the characters in her book from the people that she met in the reading room. And so the interesting part is how her writing, because you kind of get glimpses of it, it's really, really cool. And the other aspect that is just insane is throughout the book. So it's so hard to explain. There's basically the book about the people in the reading room is being written by Hannah Tisgon, I think. Hannah Tisgon. She's fictional, right? She's writing this book. And so you read a chapter about the people in the reading room, and then you read a letter from a correspondent who has been reading Hannah's chapters. So basically, like, you read chapter 1 and then you read an email from Leo, who is Hannah Tisgon's correspondent. So she sends him chapter 1. He sends her feedback about it. So it's like, it's a book about 4 people in the reading room, but it's also being written by a fictional author, and that's the story. And all of that is written by her. Like, I know you're confused sitting there listening to me talk about it, but the fact that it works, and it really, really makes you think. So if you enjoy books that make you think, and where there's layers and there's mystery and you don't know what's gonna happen, you need to read this book. It's really, really good. I'm thinking back through the way that I explained that. Don't take my word for it, go read it. The last book I have is the one that I'm in the middle of right now, and so I haven't finished it yet, but it's by the same lady. I read that one I got that randomly from the library. I like to just stroll and pick up books that catch my eye, and it ended up being so good, it's crazy. But I loved it so much that I bought her other book on Amazon, which I don't do very often. easier to explain, but the whole premise is that it's a book written in two different POVs, but meshed together, and it's basically two authors, one named Madeline and one named Edward. And Madeline is writing about Edward, and Edward is writing about Madeline, and they both are making the other one up. So you don't know who is the author and who is the creation. And then a murder happens, and their worlds like start to mesh, and you literally go the whole book not knowing. Well, I'm only here. I'm not finished yet, but you, as far as I've read, you don't know who is the writer, who is outside of what's going on, and who is actually experiencing it, because from Madeline's point of view, you're reading about Edward, and then from Edward's point of view, you're reading about Madeline. So it's just so interesting. I have never read a book like this that really is psychological. I love books that make you think. I've said that so many times, but the other thing that I really like about this book is how informal it feels. Sometimes when you read books, it can feel like the author is forcing it, or the story is trapped, or everything is rigid and unmoving and like stagnant almost, even if there's action going on. And the thing that I really like about her is that she's getting to know the characters, and she's letting you know that, especially in this book, because Madeline is getting to know her character Edward, and Edward is getting to know his character Madeline. And so you get to almost tune into her author process of how she meets characters, her own characters, and gets inspired by her own characters, and how she develops characters. I just think that's so interesting. It really feels more informal, which I like, but also it was well planned out because it's so thought-provoking. So that's a really good one. I also reread Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's. Wait, that's right. Yeah, the Philosopher's Stone. That's the UK version. I reread the first Harry Potter recently, just for fun. But I don't need to talk about that because we all know and love those books. And if you don't know and love those books, then you probably haven't really read them. But yeah, that's basically all that I've read recently. I apologize if this video was super chaotic. But I promise to have a better planned video for next time. This whole week